A hearty good evening and welcome to a session on Fertility and Age, Male, the Unknown Facts. We're glad to have Dr. Arun Boruah among us today to help us understand the topic. Fertility is a lesser spoken topic around us, usually even less among men of all ages. And there's a lot of unknown factors that young men don't really know about fertility in relation to their own and even fertility in general. So Dr. Arun will help us understand this and educate us on this topic. Doctor, you have the stage.
Thank you. Good evening to all of you. It has been really fine over here, and I'm quite sure similar the atmosphere over all of you, and we all are longing to learn more and more about the fertility, because that has been an issue that is bothering everyone. हर लोग यही कहते हैं, मुझे बच्चा कब होगा, मुझे जल्दी चाहिए, हम डॉक्टर के पास क्यों नहीं जा रहा है. But having said so, in our country, such a vast thing, we have got so much diversity in every aspect. But one thing is common everywhere, that whenever there is a fertility issues, it is the female who is looked upon as the factor, because it is a societal perception. जो एक बार दिमाग में घुस जाते हैं बस वही घूमते ही रहते हैं, और दुनिया में अगर किसी के बच्चे हो नहीं पा रहे तो हम लोग हमेशा औरत को ही दोहराते रहते हैं. But I can tell you, we are all 50-50. We are equally to be blamed in today's era. And on occasions, maybe even it is more. It depends upon the profession you are. It depends upon your habits, or it depends upon your age. So today we are going to take upon one such similar things, the age and the male fertility. What is the interrelation? I'm sure सभी लोग यही समझते हैं कि मर्द के लिए एज क्या हो सकता है. A man can be fertile even 60s, 70s, or even 80s. That's very true. But we cannot make it a general statement. Why? Science do not agree to the dictum that for male is no bar. But there is a degeneration that takes place in a human body, and that degeneration affects every organ, not to speak of the sexual organs. अगर हम लोग सही एविडेंस बेस्ड साइंस में डालें तो हम लोग को यही मालूम होगा कि एक मर्द के लिए औरत के जैसा ही 35 के आसपास से ही प्रॉब्लम होना शुरू करते हैं, एंड बाय 40 थोड़ी बढ़ते हैं. But somehow or the other, by the innumerous number of sperms that are generated during every sexual performance, they compensate, and maybe 45 to 50 could be the number in terms of age when man can think of, I'm on a safe margin. But that's overall a general dictum. We get patients who are beyond 55, 60, or even 65. For various reasons, they come down to us, request us, Doc, can we become father one again? The question is always yes, but in real sense, fertilization is not only the performance. It depends upon the DNA, RNA, and a whole complex, the mitochondrial complex. And we know the sperm is full of those energetic components that is required to fuse one single female egg. We call it ovum. So how weak we must be. After a normal intercourse, maybe we deposit around 100 million odd sperms into the vagina. That atmosphere in the vagina is acidic, whereas our sperms with the semen in question are alkaline. They tussle between this atmosphere, and the healthy ones migrate up and reach out to the female egg. There are two phases. One is slow and one is fast. The fast one can go up in 2 to 10 minutes in a close proximity of the ovum, whereas the slow ones can reach out maybe even 3 to 5 hours later. But age is so important. These normal functions are totally slowed down to a great extent once we age out. Once we are beyond 35 to 40, as I said, maybe 45 to 50 is the upper limit that I would like to take. Because the DNAs, the sequences that are making the DNAs, the different amino acid compositions, they lack certain uniformity and they contribute to the abnormality in the sperm morphology, abnormality in the sperm function, and also the final pathway of fertilization gets affected. So never take it for granted. मैं मर्द हूं, मैं जब भी चाहूं मैं मेरी तरह से स्पर्म दे सकता हूं और मैं बाप बन सकता हूं. It's not so easy at all. हम लोग ये नहीं सोचते हैं कि हम जिस एनवायरनमेंट में रहते हैं उस एनवायरनमेंट हमारे स्पर्म को कितने नुकसान करते हैं. For example, suppose you are 25. There was no question of age and fertility for man at 25. You are supposed to be very strong from all point of view. And today we know the lifestyle. We go to the pubs, we drink a lot, we smoke a lot, and our diets are all simply not supportive to the health that we should maintain. So what happens in return? Our sperm function gets disoriented. हाँ, मैं एक बात जरूर कहना चाहूंगा, मर्द के स्पर्म हमेशा बनते रहते हैं, and it takes around 72 to even 90 days for a sperm to complete its maturity. और जब भी पूरा मैच्योर हो जाते हैं, टेस्टिस के आसपास एक एपिडिडाइमिस एक जगह है जहां पे वो स्टोर रहते हैं. So the whole sequence is totally depend upon the environment that we create, because it's not an 1 day, 2 day, 3 day affair. It is a question of around 3 months at the max. The whole environment has to be perfect. Even simple stress, simple exposure to chemicals, even the biodegradable end products, the perfumes, the body sprays, the endocrine disrupting chemicals that are being liberated from different plastics in the environment, they are all contributing towards abnormal sperm function. तब हम लोग क्या करें? तब हम लोग यही कर सकते हैं जो हम हमेशा सबको कहना चाहते हैं. Every person, every growing adult, whether he's a male, whether he sees a female, we all need to have a future fertility plan. क्योंकि ये अभी चालू नहीं है, ये अभी सोशल मीडिया में पहुंचा नहीं है. I'm sure जब पहुंचेंगे we might be little late. आज के दिन में 20 साल 25 साल के मर्द में भी काफी सारे स्पर्म के प्रॉब्लम दिखाई देते हैं. They may not be directly related to their age. It could be related to the diseases that they are exposed to. But remember, हमारे पास जितने उम्र है, सही उम्र है, और उसी सही वक्त पे अगर हम लोग अपना काम कर नहीं पाएंगे तो अल्टीमेटली हमारा जिंदगी का जो मकसद है वो शायद पूरी करने में थोड़ी मुश्किलें आ जाएंगे। सब लोग यही सोचते हैं आईवीएफ है ना, इक्सी है ना, इमसी है ना, these are high tech terms, but I tell you, even with these technologies that we offer to everyone, they may not give you 100% success. अगर आप सक्सेस गारंटी ही नहीं है तो इससे सबसे आता है, सस्ता है, बेहतर है, why not we take out a particular plan for our future, और सही उम्र में अगर हम सही काम कर लेते हैं, I think that would be the most positive way to go forward in your life. सब कुछ चाहिए मुझे जिंदगी में। मुझे बचपन से एक बढ़िया एटमॉस्फेयर चाहिए जहां मैं पढ़ाई करके बड़ा हूं। उसके बाद फ्यूचर स्टडीज के लिए मैं बेस्ट जगह पे जाऊं, बेस्ट यूनिवर्सिटी में मुझे स्टडी करने के लिए मकसद मिले। And maybe my professors or even my all other teachers choose me to be the most ideal student. उसके बाद we go to the best of the jobs. What happens next? We enhance our individuality to a family. From the family, we want to expand a little more, and that's when the question comes, are we good enough to go for that? जाते हैं, then and then only we realize somewhere down the line we are not in perfect tune, and that is the point that we are trying to bring it out, that males today are highly vulnerable component, especially when the fertility is concerned. So सही वक्त पे अगर हम लोग सही काम कर नहीं पाएंगे, we are going to contribute very poorly into the societal growth and development in perfection. When we were students, the sperm counts were somewhere between 200 to 300 millions per ml per ejaculate. और आज के दिन में World Health Organization has taken into cognizance of different atmospheric surrounding causative factors in helping to bring down the sperm count, and today the minimum count that is required for a natural fertility is 16 million per milliliter of seminal volume. So kahan 300 million or kahan 16 million. So such a downgrading effects does take place because of various reasons. Stress is undoubtedly number one. The comorbidities are definitely contributing, especially diabetes, coronary artery disease, hyperlipidemia, and also a growing up disease called hypothyroidism or even hyperthyroidism. They are all emerging as a new feeders in bringing down the sperm quality to a great extent. My question is, why then we do not suspect? Because we do not like to examine until and unless we have a question in our fertility. We believe, we mean the societal perception is that if a man can perform the sexual act to its perfection, he cannot have any problem whatsoever in pertaining to fertility. And that is the reason why we pick up the cases quite late. We complete the female component investigations, सब कुछ सही है, तब औरत जाकर के घर में कहते हैं ना मैं तो सभी ठीक हूं, आपको एक बार बुलाया है डॉक्टर ने. That egoistic feeling actually delays further, and वही एक वजह है जिसके लिए मैं सबके सामने ये खुल्लम खुला कहना चाहता हूं. As a male, we should not feel ashamed of subjecting ourselves to some investigations whenever required, and especially when the fertility is questionable, we should be the first to take the first step, because our method of examination, that is the seminal examination, is pretty simple way without giving lot of discomfort to the system. Now, the question is, how does age come in these particular factors? Again, in the younger ages, when we are more vigorous, when our body is perfect, near perfect, we do not have so many comorbidities, but we have a very bad habit of indulgence into certain drug abuse. So that very component also indulges or brings in a poor quality sperm. So age is directly related, because the more younger you are, the adolescent group have a more inclination towards this. And once you get exposed, you take this for a longer period, and it is very difficult to get out of it. So you are damaging yourself. Remember, at a younger age, there could be certain diseases that you all should be careful, that can lead to sperm abnormalities. दो चीज को आप लोग कंफ्यूज हमेशा मत कीजिए. One is sexual performance and one is fertility. Sexual performance has got no direct relation with the sperm quality. Two are said to be independent. But when it comes to fertility, the sexual act also has equal importance. So today we see more number of cases of male sexual dysfunction disorder. Hyposexuality is growing. Comorbidities are gaining momentum. And that is why I'd like to bring out to every one of you who are joining in, please spread the message that everyone should have a fertility plan, like you have a plan for your education, you have a plan for your investment, you have a plan for your future overall. Please give a small space to the fertility planning as well, because even if you have everything, this small component of fertility can make your life very miserable, and it contributes such a negativity into the whole system that सब कुछ होते हुए भी मेरा पास कुछ भी नहीं है. So knowledge sharing remains the most important component, and I want to admit every doctor, every male, every student should have this small knowledge: how a sperm is produced, what are its detrimental factors, and how age affects fertility. This basic minimum information, if we can pass on to the society, we will feel really honored, because that's how we contribute to the overall healthy society in turn. Then what do we do? On many occasions, people will say, I do not smoke, I drink very little. But soon after, the spouse will say, आप तो दिन भर 20 सिगरेट ले ही लेते हैं, अगर स्मोक नहीं करते तो क्या होगा, आप तो रजनीगंधा लेते हैं, जर्दा पान खाते हैं. So tobacco in any form is highly detrimental to the sperms in question, especially fertility in question. Stress undoubtedly is the biggest contribution. Your habit, your exercise needs to come in on a daily basis to contribute to a healthy sperm. So age, sperm are all very strongly correlated. Until and unless we are aware, we will not be able to take anything further, because in the backdrop of my mind, we will be thinking all the time, I'm a male, so I cannot go wrong anything. But today, with the science invading even the lower classes, Some conceptions have emerged, but a lot of things are yet to take place, and the social media should also come in hugely in upgrading the knowledge of the community. So before I conclude, I would like to add upon health component is not only having a normal physical and mental health. Health is a sum total of physical health, mental health, spiritual health, economical health, and even a sexual health. Now, when we come to the sexual health, we fall much behind because no open forum really exists who deals with an open discussion on the issue of sexuality. But passing on the right information is the key always. So this particular narrowing requires so that society, every male, every potential couple, or even a couple who is even thinking, making their fertility plan, should have reach out to everything that they need to know. So please make your fertility plans. You can keep it secret, but discuss to the fertility specialist. They will guide you. Open up in a social media to the level that is most justifiable. And whenever you have a problem, discuss it out. Performance has to be purely regulated. What do you mean by regulated? We cannot do it everywhere. It needs to come in whenever we actually societal agrees. So on many occasions, the male failed to perform due to various reasons. That is irrespective of age. But even if we perform and if we cannot achieve for what we have performed, that's where the question mark of age factor drops in, and we like to dig it out a little further. What is the question? Why is the male is not being able to achieve fertility? And remember, it's all togetherness that has to be considered, and male contributes equally to this final aim of fertility. Thank you very much. Small knowledge, few may be relevant, few may be known to you, but we come along and discuss these issues in the social media forum. I'm sure maybe 1, 2, 3, or maybe even hundreds or even thousands could take up and think, yes, these are the things that we need to educate to our people. Thank you so much for being with me for this 15-20 minutes of male fertility, what we need to know, and how the age factor comes in, because optimization of your fertility is what we are here for. Thank you so much and have a nice evening.